I would like to talk to you about some of the things that you do on your show.
Cool. I don't have the reference. What's the reference?
It's my impression of Eddie Murphy's impression of Bill Cosby.
What the fuck?
It's like one of my favorite stand-up bits. It's from the 80s, so it's like pre-Bill Cosby. You know, all that. It's just,
right.
I don't know if this actually happened, but he apparently in the bit he talked about how Bill Cosby called him at one point and chastised him for being too dirty in his act. It's really funny.
Oh man, I should watch that.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny because he brought it back later. What he did an SNL monologue recently and goes like, he mentioned the fact like I would never have guessed that Bill Cosby would have been in jail, and he did that impression again for the first time in 25 years, which was really cool. 35 actually, come to think about it. So let's do it.
Jump right into it, shall we?
Human Centipede 3. We completed the fucking trilogy.
Yeah, we finally gotten there.
I brought this up as a joke, as oh yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Human Centipede 3 lately, and then we actually watched all 3 fucking movies.
Yeah.
Good on us. Okay, so
I think the
there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there is a lot to unpack. First of all, I thought the Chinese guy was he was good. It was interesting because he played a kind of a completely different character than what he played in the second one.
Yeah, he's normal in this one.
To some extent. I don't know about normal, but he's more normal.
He's the most normal in a world of psychos and crazies.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I guess you could say the most normal is the chick. I forget what her name is.
Well,
Tits McGee.
Yeah, he called her Tits 20 times.
Yeah.
Oh, Daisy. That's what it was.
Oh, Daisy, that's the one.
Yeah. I felt bad. I felt bad for her. She's referred to as Tits for half of that movie. She gets assaulted constantly,
beaten unconscious. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, but
first assaulted.
Yeah, no, he multiple occasions. I was wondering. That's an interesting question, right? What do you think is worse? Do you think it's worse to be the actress that plays her, or one of the people in the Centipede?
Honestly, the Centipede in number 3, they probably had.
They don't show too much.
And also they were strapped. They weren't sewn, so they don't show a lot. So I think it was probably fine to be in the Centipede, to be honest. I think it was probably worse to play the chick, to be honest.
But I'm comparing her being her, right, and being in the Centipede in the first one, where it's very kind of explicit in how it's shown.
Oh, all right.
I think the most so out of any of the movies.
I think, we watched that one interview where the guy was like, "Oh, I get to be sewn to a chick's ass. Sign me up." I don't remember exactly what he said.
That was the guy in the front.
Oh yeah, no,
it was the Japanese guy. He's I get to have a beautiful woman sewn to my ass. And I was like, yeah.
What a dude. But yeah, no, because in that interview, the girl who plays the middle is actually the shooting conditions were very sanitary.
Yeah, she was very casual about it.
And they had apparently they had fake asses that they were sewn to and shit. So honestly, I think it was probably fine. To play that. I mean, in the okay, well actually, I was gonna say in the number 3 they have wide shots of her ass and shit, and it's really objectifying. Then again, they're naked in the first one, so
yeah. But I gotta say, it really wasn't sexualized all that much in the first one. Surprisingly so. I feel as if you could have very easily done that, but they didn't do it until the second one.
Well, then again, her mouth is gangrening, so it's kind of hard to sexualize.
That is very true. But but they really, I don't know. I felt really bad for that girl in the third one.
Yeah, that sucks.
But let's get to that Jesus Christ, we're just scratching the surface. In terms of awful shit in that movie, we haven't even mentioned the guy that gets his arm broken, the guy that gets his balls cut out.
Oh
God!
Yeah, and that's so fucking visual.
Oh, they showed all of it. You just see the
guy grab both of his testicles and then he cooks them and eats them and shit.
No, but you actually see him doing it. That's the worst part.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I feel as if even if you hadn't shown it, it would have been just as fucked up. But the fact that you see it,
Yeah, and the guy getting his fucking face burnt off. Jesus Christ.
They waterboard him with boiling water. God damn.
Boiling water is pretty fucked up. But I think probably I would say worst, but just like dumbest part of the movie is still the mad scientist guy. What is that guy's name, by the way? Hold on.
Wait,
Dita Laza.
Dita Laza, yeah. Wait, but what's his... Are you talking about his just character in this, where he's the warden?
Yeah, well, just like his fucking acting.
Oh, I know,
man.
he's fucking hilarious in it.
It's horrible.
Oh, it's horrible,
it's so
but
funny.
it kind of brings the movie a bit up compared to the other ones in terms of mood, because he's so fucking weird. And that was what made me think of this whole fucking franchise in the first place. It's just his acting is so crazy and over the top. Just I've mentioned this in like every episode up to this point, but just I can't wait to see your pure agony.
Agony. Jesus. But the fucking like it's, I mean, his acting is between like really cool over the top, like
I get what you mean.
Method acting over the top,
like Joker level.
Yeah, right, like Joker level over the top, and like that one witch chick in Troll 2 over the top,
yeah.
where you like can't fucking watch her speak for 2 seconds without wanting to shoot yourself. It's it's kind of an in between,
That's a really good description. It is somewhere between those two.
If you haven't seen The Chick in Troll 2, I recommend you go watching it.
I do love that fucking bit where where they just spend like a solid minute on him going, get the fucking scum on their fucking knees. Where he says it like 20 times. I love they just let that go on just a bit too long. Like, I gotta say...
Like, everyone leaves and he's still there just fucking saying that. It's like, what?
I gotta say, I feel weird saying this. This one was by far the most like disgusting and fucked up and horrible, but it's also kind of the funniest one out of the three.
Yeah,
and I think it was written as such. Like they were clear. I mean, they bring the fucking director of the films in this whole meta thing. Like, I think it's pretty. They're very self-aware by this point.
Yeah, right. Because I think the first one was like successful and being really fucked up and like kind of like hard to watch, especially the beginning parts.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the second one, like, I think they tried to do the same thing, but it just kind of failed because the only really fucked up things were like visually fucked up stuff, but like psychologically it wasn't that bad. And then the third one, they were just like, fuck it, and made it comical, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, right? Because it's a bit of both. Like, it is weirdly comical in a lot of places. It's got this whole meta thing. His acting's over the top. But then there are some weirdly, like, there are some lines that seem as if they were clearly written to be comedic. Like, that's always, speaking of Troll 2, that there's always that one line that one of the hardest I've ever laughed. I don't know how to phrase that, but it was like the hardest I'd ever laughed in a long time. The scene where the dad's yelling at the kid and he starts unbuckling his belt and the kid's like, "What are you gonna do to me?" And he's like, "I'm tightening my belt by one loop so I don't have to feel hunger pain." It's a genuinely funny joke in a movie full of like shittiness. Like, there's a setup, like, you're led to believe that he's about to beat his fucking kid, and then it's revealed he's just a chest. Like, I had not laughed that hard in my entire life when I watched that scene for the first time.
It's such a fucking dumb joke, but it is great.
Because I remember genuinely thinking, I was like, oh my god, is there actually going to be domestic abuse in Troll 2? And then it's that, and man. Oh my god, that still makes me laugh. But yeah, I think I kind of appreciate the fact that they were meta about it, but good lord, that movie was just I think that thing with the guy getting his balls cut off really stuck with me, like, I think compared to some of the other stuff.
Really? That's interesting.
They spend the most time on it, I think, was the issue, Yeah. Like, they really linger on it.
I mean, yeah, but it's just like, it's like a cringy moment. It's not that bad. Like, I think the thing that stuck with me, I think, the most out of all three Human Centipede movies is in the first one, them being in the beds and it not having happened yet and them knowing it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
like, that honestly, that was fucking, like, that was intense.
They were all decent actors, so like, I think it helped that a lot. That's what I love about one of the best, like, kind of performances to fit the scene I've ever seen is in Blair Witch Project. Just kind of all of the shit.
Oh, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, it's amazing. But like all of the shit in like the third act, like they genuinely seem like they're about to die. Like it is like so much genuine fear in their voices. Like it's
yeah.
I know there was obviously the whole marketing campaign about them. You know, it's like the actual last moments of these people. But it, you know, it's clearly fake. But they play it up really well, and they make it seem as if they're actually about to die, which I thought was really cool about.
Yeah, I need to watch that one of these days. But apparently it's fucking terrifying. Like apparently it's like it's one of the scariest things ever.
It legit, like I think, and their performance really sells that. Like I don't. I've mentioned this in the past, but I don't get scared by a lot of horror movies. That one really stuck with me just because it like they play it so well. And I think what makes Blair Witch Project great is because there really is this lingering sense of hopelessness, and they just keep on getting more and more lost, and it never seems like things are going to get any better. I think that's what made it so good. But
that's cool.
Let's see, what else is there to unpack with Human Centipede?
I mean,
wow.
You know, I think we could spend a lot of time on this. I like the detail of the dude who like has Crohn's disease. And he fucking, like, sews him to the guy he doesn't like.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So he, like, uncontrollably shits in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
That's some good strategizing there.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, it is kind of satisfying because, I don't know what... You know what? That is weird. That is weird because I ended up kind of rooting for Bill.
No.
Like, not like in general, but, like... As opposed to... Who's that other guy?
Humanity? Anyone with a decent mind?
No, wait.
What are you... Wait,
Wait, what's the guy... The guy who rapes him in the dream, you know? That whole thing.
I don't know. The prisoner?
Yeah, the prisoner with the handlebar mustache. Anyway, I don't know why, but... I sort of, you know, there was like kind of a tension between the two of them, and I was sort of rooting for Bill.
Are you on crack? He cuts his balls off.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, he was being a bitch.
Are you just playing devil's advocate for the sake of playing devil's advocate?
Advocate. Honestly, but I was just, I like... thought of, I don't know, maybe I wasn't really rooting for him, I don't know, but
you shouldn't. The man eats clitorises and does a centipede.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I agree with his socio-political views, Jack. It just means that like the way the film was structured and the way that, like, you know, the character was written and stuff was like, you know, it was effective because it kind of made you root
You don't
for
necessarily have to dislike someone for their socio-political views, but when those socio-political views involve creating a fucking human centipede in a prison, then maybe you should take that into an account.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I don't agree with his socio-political views. No, I know, but you should
maybe use that to influence you not liking him. Like, I'm saying, you cannot agree with someone's opinions and still be fine with them, but I feel as if, like...
Yeah, right. But see, that's the magic of movie making,
man.
It's like, you know, I'm trying to find any other movie that has this, and I don't think there is.
It's not... Actually, that brings up an interesting point, because I was watching... I found one of my favorite tweets that I've seen in a really long time. It wasn't like funny or anything, but it makes a very good point where it was, you're missing the point by idolizing them, gang. And it was a picture of Rick, Walter White, the Joker, and Cartman.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay.
And it makes it good because all of those characters, I don't know about Cartman, like he's made pretty obvious to be terrible, but all of those characters are just blown so out of proportion in terms of...
Well, Rick is kind of shown to be like an asshole as well.
Yeah, that's my point. Well,
like I don't think you idolize Rick that much.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Do you know what the fandom is like?
Not really, no.
Oh my God, bless your soul. Really, you don't want to.
Oh boy, okay.
There's like a Reddit for people with Rick level intelligence, like to give you an idea.
What? Wait, no one has Rick level
exactly.
Intelligence, though. He's like basically a superhero.
I don't get how that works, but the thing is, my theory behind it, at least this covers Rick and Walter White. I don't know so much about Cartman and who's the Joker, as I think people idolize characters that are smart and badass. Like, all of everyone's favorite moments are with those characters are them, like, MacGyvering their way out of situations. And that definitely applies to Rick and Walter White.
Yeah, and I think it applies to the Joker as well. I think the Joker is definitely idolized. I don't know about... I'm not sure about the Joker from the movie that came out recently, but
it was a picture of Joaquin Phoenix, weirdly enough.
Okay, well, yeah, but that's because that's the Joker that everyone's kind of talking about these days. But I think, like, for Heath Ledger's Joker is definitely idolized.
Fair, yeah. Certainly.
He's seen as like a super badass character who is sort of right about a lot of the things that he says. Because a lot of the shit that he says is like weirdly, like, it's one of those movies where you're like, you're watching like the villains monologuing, and you're like, you know what? I don't disagree with this.
Well, and what was interesting was that the guy wrote, like, feel free to add people that kind of fit into this category. And there's so many characters that, like, Tyler Durden, Scott Pilgrim, BoJack Horseman, Travis Bickle, like, all of these characters that are, like, and they're all anti-heroes.
Scott Pilgrim?
Well, yeah, because Scott's kind of an asshole, like, in the beginning, at least.
He's an anti-hero, but he's not an asshole.
Okay, he's not an...
Okay, I mean, he does kind of cheat on his girlfriend.
Yeah, he cheats on his girlfriend and lies about it for most of the series.
He's not like a fucking, like, Joker level asshole, like Walter White level asshole.
I agree, but he's still not the kind of character that you should look up to him, to,
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, he's got, like, kind of, like, average Joe... kind of unleashes his full potential kind of thing, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would argue he's less of, like, falls into that category a little less, but I can understand how people would blow that out of proportion.
I mean, in that sense, like, Donald Duck could also fit in that category.
I mean, but, like, I guess BoJack would fall into that category as well, sort of, where the kind of awful shit that he does isn't entirely his fault because his character is, like, super depressed and went through all this shit. Like, he's honestly a great anti-hero because, like, he does awful things, but it ultimately fucks him up the most out of anyone.
I don't watch BoJack Horseman, so I don't know.
It's one of the greatest shows. Like, I wasn't into it at first because its first season isn't very good. Like, it starts off... It has a very weak opening, and... when it came out and I started watching it, I wasn't into it. I just put it down. I was like, I don't give a shit about this. And then there was all of these, analyses on it, like what it says about loneliness and stuff. I'm like, oh, bullshit. Like, there's no way it's about, like, all that stuff. And I kind of just ignored it out of spite for a really long time. And then a lot of people, because it ended last January, and a lot of people were talking about it around then. And I started watching it, and it really, I didn't think that a show about a talking horse would be about depression, addiction, and, like, self-destructive behavior. And it is one of the most, like, Shakespearean... It really does play out like a Shakespearean tragedy in a lot of ways, but it also happens to be really, really funny.
Wait, how long is this thing? Like, how many seasons?
There's 6, and they're, like, 12 episodes each.
6 seasons? Jesus fucking Christ.
That's not that long, Jules.
Yeah, it is.
You just don't like series.
I'm the kind of person who... Yeah, I'm the kind of person who watches series with, like, 6 or 7 episodes or something. Like, like miniseries.
I would highly suggest, like, kind of, the first season isn't that great, but just get through that, and it really is just a very powerful kind of study on, like, just self-destructive behavior and all this other stuff.
Okay, that's cool.
It's amazing. But, speaking of series, actually, is a good convenience.
Yeah, good point. Speaking of series, yeah. Well, as I was saying, I do like series that are not too long and that are 6 or 7 episodes. And an example of that is Tiger King.
Which is funny because I just realized now one of the other pictures in that comment section was Joe Exotic.
Yeah, but that's funny because... Wait, really? But that doesn't make sense because no one fucking idolizes Joe Exotic.
Oh, Jules. Oh, buddy.
No, they don't. Yeah. They do jokingly, but no one actually idolizes
There's
him.
A petition to, like, let him out of jail.
Isn't that, like, all done, like, jokingly, though?
No.
Like, I bet 90% of the people that signed that petition were like, oh, hashtag free Joe Exotic, like, knowing that he would never fucking get freed because that's not how the American legal system works, Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of this is done, like, just jokingly.
You really think that people that dumb to sign a petition like that would do research on how the American legal system works?
Yep, and everyone knows petitions don't fucking work, especially in America.
I mean, yeah, but it's also America. People are fucking stupid.
I guess. Yeah, but no, I mean, of course I heard of the whole hashtag Joe Exotic thing, but hashtag free Joe Exotic, but
I gotta say, no, I do think there are people that genuinely idolize him because he's like, I, I don't want to like tie this into politics too much, but it does kind of fall into a similar category as Trump. He's crazy and it's so batshit insane that people are like, haha, it's funny, and then people actually start worshiping that as a result.
Well, that's why he was fucking like third in the election for governor. Like,
yeah,
pretty fucking insane, honestly, that a guy like that would be third in the polls. Like, what the fuck? Well, not only in the polls, but in the final election.
That is weird. Anyway, so on the last episode, I think you were like halfway through it, but you finished it since, right?
I finished it since, yeah.
Have you watched the extra episode that they added where they
I haven't. I've heard of it, but I haven't.
It's interesting. It's kind of, they don't get everyone's.
Wait, because like what I've heard, and this was like purely like mouth to mouth, so it could mouth to ear, so it could mouth to mouth, so it could totally be like, totally not be true, but that someone had told me that the last episode was like requested to be made by Jeff Lowe.
I actually didn't know about that. It could have been because he points out that he wasn't happy with how he was portrayed in it. It's kind of an interesting kind of.
Wait, so what is it? What do they say in the last episode? Like, do they just say like, okay, so now this guy's here, this guy's here, this guy's been put in jail, this guy hasn't?
No. It's an interview following the series release. It was like his employees, the guy that worked on his TV show, his campaign manager, all of the kind of major players in the show, and they were being interviewed about their kind of newfound fame and how they feel looking back on all of it.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So they kind of get a new side. And it is interesting, so because some people like Jeff wasn't happy with how he was portrayed. He wasn't like bitter about it, but he pointed out that he thought he was made out to be too much a villain. Even though I would argue he's like the biggest piece of shit in the show. He's not the worst person morally, but God, he is a douchebag.
Wait, but why didn't he like the way he was portrayed? He was just portrayed as the person he is, which is a complete fucking ass.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's funny because in that interview, he also mentions, he goes like, "We've got a new nanny now. She's really hot." He like next to his fucking wife.
Oh my God. No, but because what I think they mention is that his wife is like kind of bi and she like also participates in shit. So I think she's cool
No.
with
I mean,
it.
I know she's cool with it, but I feel. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's not weird.
No. Like, it's not that. It's just she never seems like even if she says she's on board, she never seems like she's 100% into this whole thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. To marry a guy like Jeff Lowe, you have to be kind of insane. I mean, like... Valid.
I felt bad because Saf actually pointed out that the one who had his arm cut off or bitten off. Kind of turns out he identifies as a guy and was kind of misgendered a lot throughout the documentary.
I wasn't sure about that because both my grandparents were like, no, it's a girl, and I was like, well, I'm not sure because I think it was like, I think he identifies as a guy.
He does. I
wasn't totally sure about
and
that.
I did refer to him as a girl in an earlier episode, so I do apologize for that. But they all seem, and it's interesting because no one is like, yeah, man, I'm still Team Joe. Like everyone was like, yeah, no, working with him was one of my biggest regrets. Like it's kind of interesting seeing everyone's kind of take on that now.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. Actually.
Carol's not in it, and she was apparently very upset with how she was portrayed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, she thought it kind of gave too much voice to terrible people, which I'm not saying she's wrong about, but okay. This is I guess the debate of the night. Do you think...
Did she fucking kill him?
Did she kill her husband? Yeah.
Alright, debate of the night. Did she kill him? I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, if she was found guilty, like, I mean, we can't base all of our convictions, like, everyone who's like, I'm convinced that she killed him and shit. All you guys did was watch a fucking Netflix series. Like, that is in no way a reliable source. You know what I mean?
Yet...
So, according to the series, yes, there's a good chance she did. But that's according to the series.
Of course.
And I think that definitely leaves out a lot of shit.
Yeah, I would argue that the jury's still out on it. Like, at least from the information that I was given, I'm pretty sure she did. However, I would argue that, like, there's still debating worth doing. I think what's fucked up is, like, despite that, you know, she's, you know, by far the most hated person in the whole documentary, just like in terms of what I've heard, even though they're...
Wait, is she really?
Oh my God. Yeah, of course.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it is, because
how is it not like Jeff Lowe or his fat fucking friend or some shit like that?
There are way worse people in that show, and that are much...
Yeah, like, I'm not saying she's great, but Jesus Christ, how could she be the most hated?
Yeah, and that was fuck, can't talk today. That's what I thought was so interesting about kind of, at least the first half, or no, just the series as a whole, was that, you know, it's originally made to seem as if they're all like crazy characters that are just kind of squabbling with each other, but kind of as you go on, you realize they're really all terrible people. Like, I was never on anyone's...
Yeah.
I would say that to some extent, you could still say something about Carol and whether or not she actually killed her husband, though the evidence against Joe seemed really overwhelming compared to that.
Yeah.
I'm much more certain he did it.
I don't think anyone's contesting the fact that Joe did it, right? I mean,
No.
I mean, but wait, because his charges were... Because I remember the charges of killing tigers. Oh, yeah, and asking to... Oh, yeah, of course, asking to kill...
Yeah.
Or hiring to kill Carol.
And what's funny is that the reason I say it's more overwhelming as Joe, and a lot of people point that out in that new episode where they're interviewed, is that he really dug his own grave. There is, like, just so much... Just the way he constantly... He just blowing up mannequins of her, shooting her and shit.
Yeah, fucking idiot. I mean, that guy's honestly, like, dumb.
Oh, no,
like,
he's a fucking moron. And, like, he really screwed himself over with that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, it's kind of interesting seeing... But despite that, people still on average hate Carol the most because she might have killed her husband.
I can't believe that, honestly.
Yeah.
And, like, okay... Yeah, okay, no, I'm not going to say, all right, she killed her husband, because no, it's not all right. But, like, I mean, shit, like, I don't know, just fucking, like, Jeff Lowe and, like,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'd fucking hate Jeff Lowe's guts. Like, I think he's the worst kind of person. Like, it's insane.
Right? I even mentioned that in an earlier episode where I was like, he's my least favorite, and it was like, I don't even know who he is. I'm like, oh, just get ready for that fucker.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, no,
and like his fat friend who like becomes an informant for the FBI, he's a fucking piece of work as well.
Yeah. Like, don't you love that honestly. Bit? It's funny because the guy interviewing all of them he wasn't associated with the documentary. He's a comedian, but he was really funny because he kind of like, how'd you feel about that last scene of him jet skiing away to Eye of the Tiger?
Oh my fucking God. Great.
It's kind of interesting because a lot of the people in that after show are kind of in similar positions to where they are now, but a lot of them seem like they're kind of beginning to turn their life around. Like the guy that saw Travis kill himself, the campaign manager, I think he was like starting to... He was like saving up to get therapy and kind of go back into like college or something like that. And so, what's his... Oh, yeah, John, his ex-husband, he has teeth now, like all of them.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's got all of his teeth.
Wait, how? What the fuck? Is it because he's rich, because he got paid, so he
I think he just got implants.
What a guy.
Yeah, man.
Good old, fucking, what's his name again?
John,
who won too many hits on the old meth pipe.
Yeah.
But he's better now.
That was also the most fucked up. Like, the fact that they're all, like, all three of his husbands were hooked on meth.
Yeah, that was fucking insane.
Yeah. And they were all... Shit, we're both 19. Do you want to see if we can double team Joe Exotic?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
we're at our... I actually have a bit about... I mean, I can't do stand-up now because it's lockdown, but I want to do a bit and say, like, yeah, I'm 19 now. I'm just old enough to date Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Or if I do that bit after I turn 20, I'll just be like, missed my window or something like that.
Oh man, God, fuck, man. But it is weird because, like, I mean, Joe Exotic, like, you know, it's kind of undeniable that he's like a super, you know, charismatic guy.
Yeah. He's likable because he's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, when you take a step back, he's fucking insane.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, not the type of guy you want to idolize at all.
And I think what I thought the series did well, and I think it definitely makes it a harder pill to swallow, is that it really does start all these characters out to be sympathetic, even though, despite how crazy they are. Like, they mentioned the whole thing about how troubled Joe was growing up because he was gay, and his dad basically disowned him. And then they mention the fact that Carol was raped, and it really does make you sympathize with these people. Then they start piling on all of the horrible shit that they did, and you're like, but they went through hard stuff, but now they're doing good. But now I have to like make tough choices, and I thought that I thought that was good in the way that they did that.
Yeah, for sure. I think another. I'm going to mention this real quick. This other series that I've been watching on Netflix called Wild Wild Country. It's got 6 episodes, and I just wanted to mention it because the whole having to make hard decisions and it not being completely black and white in Tiger King is actually something that's like also super present in this documentary Wild Wild Country, because it's basically about this community of people called the Rajneeshis who came from India and basically settled in America, like in this little remote place of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was basically like a cult, and this was 3 years after Jonestown.
Oh wow.
And so basically Americans just went completely fucking insane. Well, okay, they didn't go insane, but they were super paranoid, and this crazy war between the Rajneeshis and the Americans, legal war and physical war, there were fucking guns and shit. And it's really hard to take a side, because on one hand, the Rajneeshis have a really interesting worldview and a really sort of liberating worldview, and you feel the community that they set up, when you see images of it, it's insane. I mean, they're there's this whole permaculture thing going on. Everyone's constantly happy. It's free sex and shit. There's no fucked up religion stuff. No one's killing each other. It's totally fine. They have parties and they're dancing and shit, and they're completely self-sustained. But at the same time, they do really fucked up shit as well. But that fucked up shit is kind of started out by the Americans, super kind of nationalist, or we don't want these people here kind of reaction of trying to throw them out. So it's definitely a really interesting thing to watch in terms of gray areas.
That's interesting.
Moral gray areas. Yeah, I recommend that.
Yes, I actually would generally be interested in seeing that. I've been watching more movies recently, so I've gotten into more of a routine. I've been setting timers for myself every day, in terms of just spend 30 minutes playing video games, then spend an hour and a half writing, stuff like that. And it's really helped me kind of work a lot more. And as a result, I've actually been able to free up more time for watching movies, and I've started doing that. So as of recently, I watched Drive and I watched Leon, which was really good, because I've wanted to see.
Oh, no way!
I've wanted to see both of those movies for a really long time.
Yeah, awesome. I still haven't seen Leon actually, but Drive is great. I mean, it's not my favorite movie, but it's not bad.
I like Drive. I thought it was good. Yeah. Leon's great. I thought Leon was better than Drive.
Yeah, it's more of a classic.
It's very good. I think it's a mix of things, because I thought overall it's a good movie, but what's funny about it is that I guess this will make more sense to me than it actually would for you, because basically it takes place in New York, right? And all of the outdoor scenes are clearly shot there. It's just in the environment, and being from New York, I recognize that pretty easily. But then all of the indoor scenes were shot in France. And
Wait, really?
Yeah, and I noticed that very quickly, because I remember seeing those apartments. I'm like, no apartment in New York looks like that.
Yeah. There's a very specific type of Parisian apartment or French apartment,
right? And I was like, that's got to be somewhere else. And it was a kind of an interesting detail that stuck out for me. It's also, the other thing that wasn't crazy about was that it's Natalie Portman's first role. She's 12 in it. And
yeah, she's really young.
And she's fucking amazing in it. She's really for a child actress, really, really good.
So I've been told.
Yeah, and she's always a great actor. But one running thing in it for some reason is that she's in love with Leon, and that gets really uncomfortable in places.
Weird. Okay. Wait, is there sexual stuff?
Yeah, she tries to bang him on multiple. It's really uncomfortable.
That's very odd.
I feel like in a way it makes the point, but I feel as if they could have toned that down slightly.
Yeah. I mean, it's always odd. I mean, and especially the fact that Luc Besson did get, rape accusations and shit, so it's kind of fucked up to have that kind of thing.
Oh, shit, did he really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I don't think it was, pedophilia, but it's, it's still weird. It always makes you uncomfortable,
Oh, God. But I mean, they emphasize pretty early on that she's like a messed up kid that like comes from this super dysfunctional family and stuff. But the one thing I was also that they mentioned, it was just a one trope that I'm not into, and I realized how many times this cliche had been used, is Gary Oldman's character is the bad guy, and I am so fucking tired of psychopaths being into classical music.
Oh, yeah, god damn it. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He does that in Leon, and then Clockwork Orange, Silence of the Lambs, you know. You could go further with it and just have psychopaths with very specific taste in music and throw American Psycho in there as well.
Well, no, but there's like so many movies. Like, what's that one? There's that one movie. I mean, there's so many of them where they're just like listening to classical music. But there's this one movie. I remember the specific shot. This was a shitty movie all around, by the way. But this like specific shot. He's in like a basement playing like really violent video games, and he's playing classical music.
Oh God.
So it's like the full stereotype. Video games make you violent.
Oh God. I would argue that the video games are like the main reason I haven't killed anyone yet.
That's fair. Yeah. I think masturbation is probably my reason.
Yeah. I love, oh geez, this does not age well at all, but it's one of my favorite like deliveries of it's an episode of Louis.
Oh boy.
He's talking, arguing with an anti-masturbation protester. Really does not age well.
Oh boy, no it doesn't.
But it's one of my favorite. It was just one of my favorite deliveries where he gives this like really long rant, and then she just goes, "Wow, masturbation must be really important to you." And he just goes, "Yeah, it keeps me sane." But
oh god, that did not age well.
No, it's
Jesus
and it sucks.
Christ. I'm not. Yeah, I guess the fact that it keeps him sane has been disproved.
Yeah,
God.
And that sucks because before that, like Louis was one of my favorite TV shows ever. Like I've never seen anything that kind of matches that tone before or since, where it's like a very. Have you ever watched it?
Slightly. No, not half as much as you. But...
I think what's interesting. I've watched all of it, and it's just this it's got like a mixture of very surreal humor and then kind of just straight up comedy, but it's also like very sad. Like, so in that scene, there's a bit where she goes, you mentioned the fact that you're married and now you're alone and you masturbate. You asked me if I've ever been married, Louis, but can I ask you something? Have you ever been happy? And it's just this, like, really awkward pause, and there's, like, cello music and shit playing in the background. Like,
oh my god.
Like I said, it's really does not age well.
Wait. But so this thing, is it, like, the anti-masturbation girl, like, is this legit, or is it, like, staged?
Oh, no. It's a staged scene.
Oh, okay. Because, wait, so are there actual, like... anti-masturbation advocates? Is that a thing?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I guess people who are like, yeah, masturbation is murder, shit like that.
Yeah, but like I said, that scene does not age well at all, but it is honestly a genuinely funny scene if you don't think about what Louis C.K. did.
Yeah. But I think one of my favorite memes about anti-masturbation people is there's like a girl holding up that exact sign that says masturbation is murder, and then there's like the cut scene from Rick and Morty where the dude goes, oh boy, here I go killing again. It's fucking great.
That's really funny. Here I go kill. I love that line.
Yeah, that's great. I fucking love that. That's a great episode.
That is a great one. I love that. I love Jermaine Clement. He's awesome. What was that I saw him in recently? Where? Oh fuck! What was it in? Maybe it was Men in Black. I showed my brother Men in Black for the first time recently, which was fun.
Oh, nice. The first one. Right?
Yeah, of course. I love that movie. It's just fun, It's just a classic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely not my favorite, but it's
I like it.
It's cool. It's nice to watch, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's true. They're making like a new one that's like a sequel to it, kind of like Star Wars.
Men in Black?
No. Ghostbusters.
I mean, didn't they make one like all women?
No. That's and we're not even going near that one.
I didn't see it. Did it suck? Why? I mean, I heard it sucks. That's what everybody said, but a lot of people were assholes about it as well.
Yeah. Exactly. It apparently also sucked though. But no. It's like what they did with Star Wars, where it's like the same universe, but 30 years later, and it's like a new generation, like finding the old
Ghostbusters. God fucking damn it.
No,
really?
But I feel as if that could be cool. I mean, look.
No, that makes me want to shoot myself, Jack. Come up with new fucking stories. Stop rehashing the same shit.
I'm with you there, but I mean, the fact that the older generation is, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, I feel as if that has potential,
Okay, fair. That's cool. But still, like, God, I don't know. That always pisses me off, to be honest.
I'm with you there, but as like a concept, I think it's kind of cool. Just like, these people have been with this so long, and kind of the idea of them passing down this knowledge.
But like, I don't know. I mean, I think that the concept of like making sequels and shit, on just like literally like the concept of a sequel, I'm only cool with that when it's stuff that like was previously already like a series, so either like Star Wars or James Bond, Mission Impossible, shit like that, but when it's shit like Disney movies and they make fucking like live action remakes of them, and then they take fucking Ghostbusters and they make a female version of it and then a 30 years later version of it, like, I don't know, man, like, come on, come up with something new. Like, there's so many fucking like great budding screenwriters in Hollywood. Like, you just gotta find one.
To be fair, though, I mean, that was the main criticism with the first one, that it felt too much like Star Wars. It felt too much like a rehash of the original movie.
Wait,
of Star Wars, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean for Star Wars?
Well, just a lot of people thought Force Awakens was way too similar to A New Hope.
Oh, you mean number 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. I wasn't. I mean, I like it just because I really like Star Wars, but I mean, objectively, it's just no. Oh yeah, Star Wars.
Why do you say it like that?
Because I think it's my French side. I don't know. There's something. It's something about like, yeah, Star Wars. I don't know why. It's
nothing wrong with that. I just find it funny.
Yeah. No, I really like that friend. I mean, but objectively, when you look at seventh movie, it's not amazing.
I'd say it's my favorite of the new ones.
Yeah, I know. I think. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so too. But it's still not. It's not like it doesn't innovate or anything.
No,
it's not inventing anything. It's just like fun to watch. But in terms of being fun to watch, it's fucking great to watch.
It's very fun to watch.
Super fun. Yeah. So it definitely gets that right.
Yeah, and I think the point of it was for it to be similar, so as a way of bringing us back into this universe, and then the other two were kind of building on that,
Yeah, right. And I guess that's also a reason why number 7 was the most satisfying, because it was the most like the Star Wars that we know and love.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, so that was fun. Any last thoughts? Oh, by the way, actually, before you do that, I was thinking about what you said in the last episode where you're talking about, like, I've been trying to compose this concept, making, like, sign language, but through sound.
And they just fucking play porn.
Well, no, but I was thinking about that phrase of, like, expressing sign language through sound. That's just language.
Yeah, that's just speaking. Yeah, I know.
I don't know why. It took me until like a week and after that we recorded that to think about that. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh boy, you cut off. Well, you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Green seems to have cut off. His computer crashed or some shit like that. I hope he didn't lose his recording. If he did, it's just going to be a very long 50-minute recording of me monologuing. But in the meantime, I would like to say goodbye to all of you and conclude this episode with a piece of writing that was actually, it was actually created by this really talented writer named Cosmo Hamilton, and he was actually an 18th century writer who was kind of pioneering in fuck, hold on, I gotta start that again because I don't know shit about literature. Pioneering in various literature movements, and so I think this is probably one of my favorite parts of what he's written, and it was actually played by this very talented actor in this incredible short film. Oh fuck, Jack. Hold on. Shit, this is gonna be hard for you to edit, man. Yo, hold on, I'm doing my outro. Let me just finish.
Oh yeah, sure thing.
All right, where was I? And it's actually portrayed in this incredible film that's actually very underrated.
Wait, what? What? Wait, hold on.
What?
Wait, were you recording it or?
I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording. So.
Oh, sorry, because I cut out. Hold on.
Yeah, I know you cut out, but I wait, hold on. I'm recording, and also I'm on speaker, so I'm picking you up. So wait, don't try not to speak. And it was actually also portrayed in this incredible movie, actually very underrated movie, and it's called Taken 3 short movie, and it's by this production company called Random Productions. I guess the extract that I wanted to show you guys today was, just this incredible piece of writing. So without further ado, let me play this for you.
So, boys, I've brought you here today because we need to kidnap a little boy, and then so I can get the money from his parents, so then I can retire to the moon. For that is my dream.
Well, that is my dream.
And then so I can get the money from his parents. Boy, that's just absolutely.
To be fair, we improvised that.
For like one or two viewers that don't know the context for that was a shitty film we made in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I don't know about shitty, man. It's
Jules.
I think it's the beginnings of our great.
Yeah, honestly, that is kind of like our first official
collab. Yeah, that's not something I'm proud of. Anyway,
to be fair, my first short film kind of sucks as well. So
yeah. Well, anyway, I guess we can leave it at that.
All right, later, buddies.
Have a good quarantine, guys. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.